Hello, everybody. Brock Weld here to talk to you about functional neurological disorder and how it affects your relationships. I will say this. I thought about this today, and I was going to say that functional neurological disorder can definitely have a big impact, have a negative impact on your relationships. But the more I thought about it, the more I thought that was the wrong way to put that. What I would say is it tests your relationships, not really in a good way or a bad way. It just lets you know who actually cares about you versus who actually cares about you enough to want you to be useful to them. And so I guess if there's a silver lining to all this, I've definitely found out who genuinely cared about me. I think a lot of you are going to know who you are. There's just too many names to list. But there are some people that I could tell that when my usefulness kind of expired for them, they really weren't there for me. So, but that's fine. Like I said before, you really have to get rid of, with this condition, being antagonized, being constantly hounded about certain things, being accused of things that you didn't do, being accused of faking, like I talked about before, about that your illness is somehow imaginary. It's not. One of the videos I'm posting on this post is me a couple nights ago driving into Oklahoma City. And for some of you that might be following my story, you might have seen me in the same shirt, the same car, earlier that same day. And that's why I wanted to kind of put it together so that people could see that it's not always great. Like, there are times where I seem completely normal, that I seem as though there's no way I could be sick. But that's just not true when it comes to chronic illness, when it comes to certainly functional neurological disorder. You can be relatively okay. I mean, don't forget, I am constantly fighting to keep my right eye open, to keep moving my mouth and my throat in a normal way. And sometimes it's easy to control it, but you have to understand I have to concentrate just to do those things. And then other times when you're having a flare-up or a seizure, it becomes uncontrollable. So I think that's something that I really want people to know, is that you can look and seem okay without illness for certain periods, and then go right to being very symptomatic. And my advice, if you are one of those people, I just want you to know I understand. I understand what it's like to have people not believe you, to have people mistreat you, and to kind of ingrain this idea that they have decided on their own what is wrong with you, even though they don't know jack shit about what you're going through. People have funny ways of expressing their attention towards you sometimes when you're sick. I've learned that the hard way. It happened to my father when he was dying of prostate cancer. I saw a lot of people that backed away from him, that the sicker he got, the more they did not want to interact with him. And I have experienced that now firsthand, where people are, just this, when I get very symptomatic and my eye droops and, I'm limping through the grocery store, and you're going down an aisle just trying to get some basic necessities, and some woman sees you, takes their child, turns away from you, and walks down the other way. It is a horrible feeling, to be honest. I don't blame that woman or those people that do stuff like that, because with COVID, I look like death sometimes. You'll see in the other video, if you saw that guy walking towards you in the middle of a pandemic, I don't think that you would be dying to give me a hug. And but that's, I gotta be honest, man, I'm a hugger, and it's been very tough. It's been very tough. not having really any physical connection with people is tough. So, but I'm still fighting. I'm still in the fight, and I'm not going to give up. As far as how it tests your relationships, or there are times, earlier on, I said the other day that my symptoms really started about 5 years ago, and you got to find some middle ground between understanding your illness but still taking responsibility for your actions. And like in particular, there's one person out there that I definitely need to apologize to. Years ago, I was having a lot of issues with my business, and I pushed out one of my best friends and my business partner out of our business. And I realize now that some of it was it was my illness poking in, and I can't use that as an excuse. I was unfair to him. I should have given him a lot more fairness. Sickness or not, he deserved more from me. And Blake, brother, if you're listening, man, I am so sorry. I really am. What I did pushing you out, and I'm gonna have to learn to live with that. And but that's okay. It, as long as it promotes growth and understanding, I would do it differently. But that's not the real world. I can't do it over again. I pushed him out, and he was as stubborn as I was. But that's not his fault. That's who he was. I was in charge, and that's part of this process of like kind of understanding. I understand now how it was affecting my brain chemistry. But that was way before I even had a diagnosis. But that is part of the problem with this whole journey through functional neurological disorder. You're going to go through years of just being kind of a jerk because you're in so much pain, or your body is basically spiraling out of control that you don't know how to control it, and you start feeling like it's all emotional. And there are, definitely empirical biological reasons why it happens, but everybody's got to be responsible for their own actions, and I take responsibility for that. So that is what it's like having functional neurological disorder and how it affects your relationships. Some of them it can really test. If you're not careful, you will break them. And there are some, and if you've seen me in person in the last few weeks, you know that they can make those relationships stronger. And for everybody that's helped me, sheltered me, fed me, whatever, basically, in this time of need of mine, if you have even reached out to me, you are like family to me, and I really appreciate it. I do. So that's what it's like living with functional neurological disorder. It can test your relationships, but it can really tune you into who really cares about you. So that's the good news. And I think that that's the most important thing to remember is, as life teaches you these lessons, even if those lessons require you getting kicked in the teeth over and over again, you can get through it. You can survive it, and you can come out on the other side stronger. And it can be a good moment, or it can be a downward spiral. It's entirely up to you. Don't give up. Don't give in. It gets better. You are never out of the fight. Until next time.